Hello, everybody. Just gonna wait for a few more people to come in and then we'll get started very shortly. But welcome to our monthly webinar at BBD Boom. We're very excited to run this session with you today, all about automation.
Don't know about you, Clorinda, but while we wait for everyone, I think it's safe to say that typically the end of summer, or not the end of summer, middle of summer, July, it's a bit of a relaxed period within the B2B side of the world. But I don't know about you this past week, but it has definitely been quite a busy one. And all the people that I've spoken to, I think we're all at the tail end of July being
Just a
one
little bit.
really busy month, which is quite surprising. Normally, a lot of people take leave over the summer and all of that. And yeah, how have you found it?
Yeah, I think that's gonna come up soon. All right, I will get started now. We are recording this session as well, so um, yeah, we will send it across to anyone who needs it. But anyway, welcome to BBD Boom's monthly webinar. My name's Clorinda. We'll do proper introductions shortly, but yeah, today we're going to be talking about automation strategies for scaling businesses using HubSpot. We're going to have some examples to share with you as well. This is a half-hour webinar. We estimate it's going to take around that time, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the plan. So a quick introduction for the two of us. My name is Clorinda. I'm one of the senior HubSpot consultants at BBD Boom. I've been with the company for about 3 years now, and I've been working with HubSpot software since 2017. So I love HubSpot, and I've been working with it for a bit too long. But yeah, I do really enjoy it. And that's me. And then Blake, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Perfect. Well, everyone, my name is Blake. It's lovely to meet you. I am a growth consultant at BBD Boom. I come from a background of being a HubSpot consultant, recently moved into the growth team.
Yes.
So, yeah, strong background in HubSpot implementation as well, and obviously just connecting the dots into enabling your business to grow faster. It's lovely to meet you.
Thanks, Blake. Yes, Blake's very technical as well, so we will cover a little bit of that later on. But yes, for today's agenda, we're going to be talking about some examples of automations that will help you scale. Obviously, there's lots of different types of automations that you can build in HubSpot. It's getting more and more flexible as they introduce product updates that we try our best to catch up with. But today we're going to be specifically focusing on four categories, really. So we have four demos, as you can see in the slide here, that we're going to be looking at. I'm going to be talking about the first and third one, and then Blake will go in and talk about the second and fourth one. And of course, there will be a few other workflows that maybe you are interested in building or have been thinking of building and haven't quite thought about how to do it. So that leads us to poll time, which leads us to our question of what kind of automation would be a game changer for your team? It is open text, so you can put in whatever you like if you have any that you think of. If not, absolutely fine. But we would just love to hear your feedback and see what sort of responses you come up with. So we'll give you just a minute there to think about it. Blake, just to put you on the spot, do you have you ever had any automations you've seen our clients do that you found really useful or just kind of like I could actually use that for Boom as well, or something like that.
Yeah, I think, that there's been a couple of times where I'm pleasantly surprised about some of the automations that I see on some of our customers' portals. Being a HubSpot team through and through, when they're able to put something together that just streamlines processes and makes it really easy for them. It is quite an interesting one. I think looking at a couple of the areas, especially being in the sales team or the growth team, my task management and automation side of things and just keeping up to date with what is going on, emails that I'm receiving and prioritizing which ones to reach out to first is something that I heavily gravitate towards because I find I'm replying to a lot of emails, I have a lot of tasks, a lot of calls to do, and sometimes if I'm not on top of my work, I lose track of that. So it was one of my clients who actually they have quite a big sales team and they're built in a really seamless process into order to like prioritize what to do first and so that you essentially start your day You open up your sales workspace and you essentially just have your tasks that you can, go through, emails to
Nice.
send. And it's
Yeah.
one of those where I've started incorporating it into my own life because as I was working through it with them, I'm like, okay, just take down a bit of notes. This is great. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely from a
Anything to
sales,
reduce the admin sales
yeah,
workload,
it is
always.
it is my nemesis. I will be honest, admin side of things. So anything I can do to not be able to do admin is a huge plus.
Nice. Have you, because I know you're not running the poll, but are you able to see the responses? Because I can't see them,
Yeah,
if there are
absolutely. Let me
any.
take a
Okay,
look
let's
here.
see if we can
And
share them. If not, we'll just read it out.
my poll is hiding from me. I'll give it a few more minutes, Glurin, and then I'll close the poll. So if anyone else
Okay.
wants to just jot down their answer, then we can jump through it. But maybe we just make a start in it and then we can touch base on
Yeah,
it at the end.
absolutely fine. All right, we'll move on. So, um, yeah, I mean, Blake, you literally just covered a little bit around this, but I'll let you talk about these automations that can help our client scale, HubSpot
Yeah,
customers.
absolutely. So really, and maybe Clarina, we can jump onto the next slide at the same time. There is effectively five groups that we find are the most effective in helping, in automations that can help you scale. The first and foremost is lead management. So this is managing your leads, things like lead scoring, life cycle stage updates, effectively categorizing when someone has become a lead. Now, what we often find is you have a lot of contacts within your database, and we're not too sure where they sit within the buyer's journey. It's sort of a data dump that you've done in the beginning, and you're not too sure on your data. So this lead management automation is set there to flag when someone takes the right activities and pushes them further down the funnel. This is especially powerful for something like lead scoring, where you're able to give them certain scores based on either their fit, so how well they are within your preferred customer base, or the behavior that they're taking with your marketing assets, websites, and you effectively tally them all up. And once they reach a certain threshold, you can ping that over to the sales team and say, hey, look, this contact is taking all the right actions. They're a great for a fit for us, but they just haven't gotten contact just yet. Maybe pick up the phone, pop them an email, see if there's something that you can do to help. And we find by bridging that gap, it's just really effective. The second group here is sales enablement automation. So this is my area, especially is that task creation, reminders. Often what we do, we'll set off like an email, forget about it, forget we have to do a call or something like that. Also, what's really important is internal handovers. So, from a sales perspective, once I've closed a deal, it's really important on how I pass it over to the success team to make sure that they're equipped to do their job as good as possible. And then when it also comes to deals, we often sometimes have that hope that this deal is going to close this month and we might push it out a little bit more, but eventually we might forget about it. So it's those nudges that can help you, remember, oh yeah, I've still got this deal active. Is it still viable? Should I continue with it? Okay, I need to add a bit of information before I move it to the next stage and all of that. Moving on to the next stage, we have your customer experience automation. So, this is really just about building out that experience that customers have with your business from that welcome email all the way through to onboarding sequences, making sure at certain touch points they receive surveys so that we can understand how their experience with the business is. You know, potential review follow up. So, if they've left a review and it's been good, thank them for it. If it's been bad, maybe get in touch automatically to try and bridge that friction that is there. Also, things like automated ticket assignments. So, if they raise a ticket with the business, that it can automatically be assigned to the right person and all of that. The last two is operational efficiency. This is really making sure that you're not stuck within HubSpot having to update everything, make it tedious. When certain information is available, that it can update with to the particular property, do data cleanup, enrich your records as well with information that is available, alert the team when maybe an SLA is breached or something like that, but really just helping that operational efficiency. Lastly, we have reports and insights automation. This is where you need to automate, your reports, notifications based on performance. Maybe there's been a sudden dip in, let's say, leads coming through or deals closed. You need to alert certain, members of the team. Dashboards needs to be updated based on certain life cycle stages and all of that. So those are really the five main categories that we find from an automation perspective that will help you scale. And what I'm going to do, Clarina, just before we jump over to the next one, I'm going to end the poll here so we can have a look at it. I'll read them
Thank you.
out, and maybe since you put me on the spot in the beginning, I'll throw it right back at you. Um, Perfect. All right. So Mandy from QRed said, an automation of removing a label based on automatic notifying that a newer record comes in so that the label needs to be removed on one and added to the most recent one. So that's a problem right now, is that you're having data scrambling in workflows. So I'm not sure, Gloria, I know I'm going to throw you right on the spot with this one, but if you have anything, do you think a workflow could help in terms of uh, label association labels,
Yeah,
removing from
I'm
one
assuming it
record
was
when you?
association labels, but yeah, I think they've got some workflow actions to help you apply and remove association labels now. So I guess it depends on kind of the criteria that you're looking at, and you need to figure out
Mm,
if you can use that as a trigger to remove and add them. And then of course just be careful that if you've set like association label limits, sometimes they won't let you replace them. So you just got to be really careful of like the order that you're doing it. But I think to a certain extent that's definitely possible. It's just kind of working it out. I think half the time with workflow building, it's just I think it works, and then you go in and build it, and then you just kind of work it out as it goes, which can be very fun. But yeah, no, I don't
mm,
see why that wouldn't be possible.
yeah. Karina from FIFA Fund Info, FIFA, yeah, is
FE
have
funding.
yeah, would be lead management. That's their biggest automation
Nice.
that they would think would happen. So agree with that. Louise from Sumdog said notification when certain customers aren't opening emails. 100%. Such a
You
powerful
can
one.
definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because if you're doing something like a sequence and they're not opening the emails, or you keep emailing them and they aren't opening it, notify it so that you can continue, especially if they need to open it, maybe notify you to give them a call to be like, hey, I've sent you multiple emails, you need to read them. Kat from Full Fabric as well said segmenting different customer personas and sending different comms to them. Yeah, that's a great use case. Once you have those customer personas, being able to segment them to say, great, this criteria is met, assign them this persona, and then using those personas when it comes to your marketing to say, share that unique information.
Yeah. There's so many things you can do. There's so many ways you can do that as well through lists, workflows. Um, yeah, a bunch of different things. So that's a really good one. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, Clorinda, just a
Go
quick
on.
one. Oh, yeah, you've responded there. I was just going to say for everyone new, I know Angus just joined, but anyone new, this is being recorded and you'll get a sharing of it afterwards.
Cool. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the demo bit now. We're going to share with you four examples of, or four categories of advanced workflows. Some of you might not consider it advanced, some of you might. But yeah, just some examples of workflows that we think we found quite useful. Some of our clients have applied to their own accounts as well. So the first one is upselling and cross-selling campaigns based on purchase history. So there's a few components to build this up, but I'm just going to explain, like I've got a video demo as well, but I'll show you a way that one of our clients have used automations to be able to get this information. So basically, what you do is you categorize products in your product library. So obviously, you'll have to have a product library set up in HubSpot first. Um, and when you close a deal, these deals, well, along with the line items, you can tag the deals with categories of products that they've bought. So when it's closed won, you can kind of trigger that information to then get saved and appended to the company record. So what that does is it gives you a history of all the previous purchases that a company have bought from you. Really useful for like companies with lots of cross-sell, upsell opportunities like telecoms and stuff like that. And basically from there, in your company records, you can then see a list of products they've purchased before and a list that they have not purchased or maybe have purchased with like a competitor or something like that. So from there, you can then build these lists in HubSpot to identify like gaps in those product suites that they've purchased. And then you can use your workflows or your sequences to then enroll them into communications to let them know more about these products. So that's kind of the gist of it. But what I'll do is I'll show you a video example of, it's not a video example, it's kind of a walkthrough of a demo setup that I've done with this example. So hopefully everyone see the screen here. It's only about a minute. But as you can see, we've got some properties here that have been set up on the deal and company level. Basically in here, you've got a list of all the different products or product categories that you've purchased. It's multi-checkbox, so you can track multiple products at the same time, of course. So you've got one for deals and one for companies. Got another list of, it's the exact same list of products. So you definitely want to keep that consistent so it's easy to report and use. Then you've got a workflow to track that. If the deal is closed, we then append the values of the product purchased from the deals over to the associated company, which I assume would be your primary company record if you've got multiple associated companies. What we can then do, as you can see in this company dashboard, is you can see then for each company a list of products that they've purchased in the past. Then you can use that to build a list like this one. So you've got in this example companies that purchase SEO but not CRO products for a marketing agency. So this will give you clients that are really good opportunity to upsell because they've purchased SEO. The next step is to increase the conversions on their pages. So maybe CRO services would be very useful to them. So with that very segmented list, you can make your messaging very, very specific in your emails. And then you can trigger these emails to be sent off through a list membership. So this is just one example. Of course, if you've got different product suites, if you have different ways of storing your product data, you can do it in a different way as well. But this is just one example. And that can be quite useful, especially if you have very specific paths of like upgrading your products for your clients. Yeah, so that is the upsell and cross-sell campaign example. Moving on, we have custom code actions for workflow automations. That one I will hand over to Blake to talk about.
Perfect. Thanks, Lorinda. Yeah, so typically, most people will know workflows within HubSpot and know that you can build out your various branches and actions as normal. Now, HubSpot is it's no defeat that certain actions are rather complex that don't fit within the usual mold of what a workflow would look like. When this happens, do this. That's why within Operations Pro or Enterprise, you have the ability of creating custom code actions within a workflow. This really taps into that real JavaScript or yeah, that JavaScript logic rather than just simple branch builder. You can effectively add code to HubSpot to be able to, tap into the API or do really whatever you want. And there's a couple of use cases that have been really important. First, if you want to split deals into different, let's say tickets or tasks based on a certain stage, based on their line items. So for example, if a deal gets closed one and you want to create a ticket per line item or product that has been added to the deal so that you can monitor it, you can have that automatically happen. You can also externally call an API. So let's say you have a external finance app that doesn't natively integrate within HubSpot, and you can use a custom coded workflow to be able to either call that information or write a response back to HubSpot. You're able to do custom calculations as well, things like prorated rating, complex SLAs, commissioners as well, weighted scores. So within, takes what HubSpot has from let's say a calculated property and takes it a step further because you have the ability of, writing your own code. Things like formatting and data clean as well, bulk creating or editing records. And then obviously, yeah, you can trigger those actions to happen based on JavaScript logic as opposed to the simple branch builder. So what I thought I would do in this instance is I'm just going to jump in and share my screen. There we go. And just run you through a typical use case of it. So if I use this workflow, this is standard HubSpot, if you like it. Your trigger gets
Blake, I don't think we can see your screen yet. Oh, maybe I can't see it.
um
I can
I
see it
think
now. Sorry,
great,
ignore me.
no worries, perfect. So we have a trigger. The deal stage is when it reaches course in progress. and you have your various branch. Now, in this instance, let's say when a deal reaches a certain stage, we want tickets to be created from that. Now, if you had to do it normally, just as a base, you'd say if there is one line item, you'd create one record, two line items, you would create two records. But you start to face a problem with things like pulling in information from the deal over to the relevant ticket, like the course name or the product name, as an example. And you start to run into these limitations where you have to start implementing some complex workarounds to be able to get it. Now, with custom code workflows, all you would need to do is simply have your trigger, and you can then go ahead and define your code of what an action that you want to do. You have the option of choosing between Node and then also Python. You have the ability to go ahead and pull in your HubSpot secrets so it remains secure. So if you're tapping into the API, you're not sharing your API key publicly. And then you're able to go ahead and write out your snippet of code. And in this case, this enables you to pull through all the product information into the relevant ticket. The benefit is you can always go ahead and test this, see if it works, and you can choose any outcomes from this workflow so it doesn't have to go ahead and do something that can get a value, and then you can pull it into the relevant property that's needed afterwards, and you can tap into those actions. So I'll give you an example here. This is my beautiful pipeline, and we have just sent the contract. And this can happen automatically through a standard workflow when the quote has been sent. And once it's been sent, it can move through automatically. Once the quote is signed, what would happen is this deal would then move through to, course in progress in this case. So what I will do is let me jump into it, and I'll move it through here so you can see that, there isn't any tickets or anything associated right now. Once it loads, there we go. And we'll move the stage over to course in progress. Now, giving it a couple seconds so that it can load and all of that. What we'll find out in this case is if I happen to go ahead and refresh, we'll now notice that the HubSpot training product line has become a ticket within this, and it's automatically associated. It's pulled through the relevant information. So in this case, if I refresh here, you'll see it's jumped in. I, in this instance, have just pulled through the name of the product, so HubSpot training, into the name of the ticket, and I've pulled through the amount. But the possibilities are endless. You can pull through amount, length, any properties you have there across to any items. So I'm hoping that that gives you a good understanding in terms of some of the actions. The ability of what you can do within a custom code workflow, it can be endless because you finally have the ability to add code to it. So really the restriction is of what you add to the code as opposed to what HubSpot is able to do.
And
Cool.
just a little note for me, if you're fairly familiar with like knowing how to read API documentation, I recommend looking at HubSpot's API documentation because that will give you an idea of how far you can go with the custom code action workflows. And of course, if you're not super familiar with that, you can always work with a developer who can help you, someone that's familiar with a bit of HubSpot, a bit of Python or JavaScript.
Yeah. And to be completely honest with you, I have tested this through something like ChatGPT, and it has been surprisingly
That too.
accurate. To be honest, yeah, I'm one of one of those, let's call it the ChatGPT developers. But that is the power of it, is that it's user friendly, that even an AI tool will be able to understand the logic that is needed. You do need to take it that step further and obviously amend to your portal, but it is a really useful tool to just simplify a lot of things as needed.
Thanks, Blake. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have qualified lead notification and routing. This is I would say a little bit simpler than custom code action workflow, but you can basically think of kind of building workflows with branches that can help you do something as simple as routing your leads without you having to like manually review them. Of course, these are most useful if you actually know what the routing criteria is. So if you are routing leads based on territory, product specialty, anything like that, you can build up a workflow to automatically assign these leads once they've been qualified, so that the sales reps basically get assigned them without having to be manually handed over. So with this example here, I've got another video. This is a really short one as well. But one of the in this example, I think I've set it by territory. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you've got your HubSpot team set up if you are planning on rotating these leads within a team as well. If it's just one person, then you don't have to do any of that. But as you can see in this demo portal here, I've split these sales teams into two locations, UK and US. And then you can just put your people in, your HubSpot users. And then, of course, they will need a sales seat for this example as well if you're rotating leads in a workflow, a sales pro seat. But then in this workflow, you can see that in this case, the trigger is the records being created, but it could also be, lead qualified based on your own qualifying criteria. The branches are then based on the territory of the contact record or the lead record that you've created, and then it splits them into multiple branches. And from there, you can rotate that contact or that lead within the team evenly, or you can just assign it to one person. So there's lots of options for like how you want to assign records in HubSpot. But yeah, really nice quick example of how you can route leads. And like I said, if you are doing it based off lead qualification as well, you can just set the branches with a bit more specific criteria and then just route them accordingly. So yeah, just another quick example here for workflow. Moving on to the next one, we have formatting data actions. Once again, back to you, Blake.
Perfect. Now, I don't know about you guys, but there is nothing more frustrating than when your data is not consistent. Um, I'm one of those people that if a name doesn't have a capital because maybe they filled in the form with lowercase or they've typed it all in caps, all of a sudden, I'm going to go there and edit it. I'm just one of those people. I find also things like phone numbers being inconsistent, or, there's potentially random numbers or items that have been pulled through because of some reason or another. It takes a lot of time to go ahead and clean up those actions.
Yes,
And
it
this is
does.
where, again, HubSpot has the ability to format your data for you. Really, you're able to go ahead and standardize those capitalization. You can choose to capitalize the first letter or do sentence case or capitalize it all, whatever your preference is. You can always, add prefixes to things like phone numbers. So if you find that, if you don't have the option to toggle on the location and you just want to add a +44 to a UK number, you're able to, and remove that zero, you're able to do that. Things like splitting or merging, which is especially a big one. We have first name, last name, but maybe you need a full name property. You can go ahead and add those two, no problem. Formatting dates, doing maths on, number fields as well, trimming white space. Sometimes, especially if you have a Mac, it will automatically add sort of a space after something, and that can sometimes throw things off. And then obviously generating some smart text. There's some really good use cases. Again, this is available on Pro or Enterprise, Operations Pro or Enterprise. So if you have the ability to do custom coded workflows, you can do this as well. But I'm going to
Yeah.
quickly jump in and show you what it looks like here. Perfect. So you can set your trigger up, whether it be a contact is created, deal has moved to a stage, whatever you want. And simply to go ahead and add it, you would just go ahead and add your action, scroll down to data ops, and you will find format data over there. From here, you're able to choose the property that you want. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we're going to choose, let's just do first name. And underneath it, you have all the options that are available to format. So you can add a number, add an amount of time, capitalize. And I'm not going to go through the full list right now. We can definitely link the HubSpot article to all the options, but it gives you a lot. And the benefit is it understands that maybe you want to do something slightly out of what they've asked you. So change to title case. You are able to turn it to custom mode where you're able to add in a bit of your own formula. You can pull in the
Nice.
properties, add things and get a bit complex as you want to. So a good example here, let's just take first name, easy, capitalize the first letter, output it, great, happy to go. That's quite a nice straightforward one. Every first name now will be written in the right way. If we were to go to something like a phone number, we're able to, if we want to get a bit more complex, we can create a custom mode and we can say if the phone number has a dash or a star or a hash, remove those from the numbers so that you have the plain number at heart as well. And that, is something that you can go ahead and customize. Now, if we were to add in any more, you would be able to go ahead, choose the property that you want, and then most of these options for formatting will meet your use case, and you have that custom mode afterwards. Remove any HTML tags that could potentially be there, replace some characters. If you were working on potentially having like a unique snippet on your URL, you could go ahead and change that. And pretty much do anything. And this can just, the benefit with running a workflow in this is yes, you can do it yourself, but how much, time are you spending trying to keep your platform, in sync and up to date? This can help you just alleviate it. You can focus on what matters, and HubSpot will handle the rest.
Thanks, Blake. That's really helpful. I actually wasn't really aware of that custom formatting thing because I don't use it too often, so that's good for me to know as well. But yeah, lots of different things you can do. Of course, there's going to be more automations we can set up with HubSpot, but these are just a few examples, so I hope you found them useful. So yes, we are now wrapping up for the webinar. If you have any questions for us, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section or the chat function in HubSpot. But if not, and you think of some questions later, you can always reach out to us. We will send, I think we will, I'll check with but we'll send a copy of this. And if you want to just have a quick chat, a call with us, if you want us to help you with some of these automations, let us know. You might end up speaking with Blake or Adam, and then we can go from there. So yes, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you. Oh, thanks, Em. Yeah, so we'll be in an email after. And then yeah, we'll chat to you at that point. But otherwise, we run these webinars every month, so looking forward to the next one, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. From what I can see is that no one has any questions. Now we understand workflows can be complex. So if you are struggling, feel free to reach out. We're always happy to take a look, audit your system, and you be able, give you a free audit of your workflows to see where things can be improved or help where you're struggling. So yeah, feel free to reach out. We'll pop our details in the follow-up email and we'll take it from there. But if there isn't any other questions, we'll go ahead and end it. So have a lovely rest of your Friday, everyone, and we'll
Yes,
speak
good
soon.
weekend. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.